Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News, and we have a Rachel Recchia update. Rachel Gets Real, which, by the way, I think would be a great name for her podcast, but what do I know? Featured in Time Magazine. Okay, all right, let's flex. So what we have here is Rachel contouring. That is the art of doing your makeup in a way that confuses men and stains their bed pillows. And here we are. She's going to share that she's got a faulty picker. I tell you what, we're going to listen to it. It's almost 3 minutes long, and I'll just interject where I see fit. If you want the uninterjected version of this, go to pilot.rachel on TikTok. But here we are.
Let's talk about dating. It is no secret that I have absolutely probably the worst picker on planet Earth.
True.
I truly don't even understand why. A lot of times when I'm making a decision, deep down inside, I just feel like it's the most logical decision. But because of this, my goal this year is to try to be able to start spotting red flags. Another thing that I learned about myself since going on the show.
And by the way, I'm not calling Rachel Recchia a red flag, but when she says about spotting red flags, like in who? Tino? I mean, he wasn't that bad. In who? John Henry? I mean, what guys from the season were giant red flags? Of course, I'm sure she's working on herself as well. A red flag sometimes, and again, I mean this when I talk about myself, and a red flag usually can be found in the mirror. Usually it's something we're doing wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, there are just toxic people out there, but usually you bring out the toxic in others when you're not yourself where you want to be on a communications level and all of that. Again, not to blame other people, just to say, all right, why is your picker so off? But I love what she's about to share here. So funny. Let's have a listen.
Oh, I really like a guy who has a cool job. It could be literally anything, but if it's like unconventional, it just makes him like 1,000 times more attractive to me. Maybe it's because I'm a pilot and I'm a freak. Honestly,
she's a freak. And, Rachel says she likes a guy with an unconventional job. I mean, by all means, I understand. You don't want some boring job. What'd you do today? Well, we had a meeting in the conference room, and they switched up the types of sandwiches they normally have. Usually we've been doing bruschetta, but this time they did roast beef, and they added some of that sauce, the mayonnaise, but there was kind of like a horseradish in it. Oh, my gosh. You should see what Sharon did with the boring. But at the same time, if you only want a guy who's the dangerous, crazy job type DJ, if that's what you want, it might be a dopamine thing. Maybe you should just join a rock climbing class or something.
I haven't dated really much at all in between any of the shows. I feel like I've had to do a lot of work on myself. I also really love the idea of meeting someone in a non-conventional way. I'm not on any of the dating apps. We're just trying to meet men in the wild. People always ask me.
She's got a lot going on. What was that black thing? Was that a moisture? Was that a oil blotter or what? I don't know what that was. By the way, we'll get back to this in a second. This is what's so funny about social media. She spends 2 minutes and 51 seconds evaluating who she is on the inside, her core, sharing her heart, all of those truths we absolutely love to see. And the number one comment, darken your brows, girl. Lord, 1,170 hearts. Okay? Wow.
For dating advice, and I truly believe that I'm the last person on earth who should be giving any dating advice. But maybe I'm not, because I also dated a lot of people.
The problem with Rachel, as far as what we see on the show, is it's hard to have a baseline of how she would be because we've only seen her in ultimately wild situations, right? As co-lead of The Bachelorette, we saw her competing in one way or another with popularity with Gabby and all of that. And then on Bachelor in Paradise, she was first to sand, and we saw her in an anxious situation where they put her on the beach before anyone else showed up. The show knows exactly what they're doing to put her in these real tough situations. I would like to see Rachel in a situation, again, this is just my fan fiction here, where she is out with some of her best friends, living her good life, and a guy courts her and has to impress her. I'd like to see her in a situation where she's got a little bit more power and control. And you might say, well, Dave, yeah, on Bachelorette, they have all the control. Well, in some ways, but of course, coming off Clayton's season where you're competing against all the, sure, the dating pool out there is a competition, but at the same time, I think Rachel, if she gets a little bit of that confidence, might not be, thinking she's finding all these red flags, because a lot of red flags are just you wanting the attention from Mr. Wrong, right?
In the past, I've loved to be like cheeky about it, like post a blurry picture, just be like, I don't know if I'm dating on, but I'm done. No more soft launch, no more hard launch. I truly just, in my heart of hearts, do not believe that any man should ever be able to say that they dated you. It didn't happen, and you cannot prove that it happened. My best friend Nate is a pilot, and I'm listed as his partner. So for that reason, he's never allowed to get married. When we go to Europe, a lot of times he will go on Hinge and he'll like make dates. He went on this like super cute date. One time this guy was like, how do you expect to have anything serious if you're always traveling, you're always in Europe? I'm like, that's because I'm looking for my husband in Europe. I fully believe that my husband is going to be from overseas. I'm obviously being dramatic, but one time a psychic told me
oh boy. This is like the one time in band camp. Remember that? American Pie? Where are my people? Born in the 80s. One time a psychic told me I should go on a dating show, and here we are. By the way, look at all the tools she has in the background. Again, I'm not here to bash anybody. I like the version of Rachel Recchia that is super just stripped down. I'm not saying physically, but just like emotionally. You get a lot of, this is a lot of what happens. And again, I'm not judging her whatsoever. I kind of see her in almost the same way I see Demi Burnett, which is I love Demi because she's vulnerable, because she talks about her flaws and her shortcomings and all the adversity in this. And with Rachel, it's like, we get it. You were a hot mess on your season. You were a hot mess on Bachelor in Paradise. That's just how it is. HLI Canetti will tell you she was the one who cried a lot on her season and then found perfect love. The show is just not the best thing for everybody. So the version of Rachel, for me, and I know this pisses people off, I say strip down the contouring, and I get you're doing it because this is a get ready with me, and it's a style of video on TikTok that people will watch the whole thing to see how you look in your before and your after. But just go back to get rid of all these variables. You're looking for men in Europe. You're on a dating show. You're contouring. Just get it down and just pick a few hobbies and stick to them. And maybe the right guy will find that. But you won't. And again, I know, taking advice from some old bloke in his late 30s here. But I think most people find that happiness with others when they find it within. And that's very hard to do when you're traveling from this coast to that coast and doing all these things. Traveling's great. By all means, live your life, do you, but not in the pursuit of something else. Because when you start looking for something, it ain't going to come to you. Does this make any sense? I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong here.
I meet my husband overseas. A fun fact about me is I love going to the psychic all the time, especially after I go through a breakup. I had a psychic tell me, multiple psychics, that I'm only having girls. And so that's another bit that I also love to tell men. I love that one. I think I used to take dating like super, super, super seriously. And now I'm just very much in my unserious dating era. Unserious, but like also if you want to go to Vegas and get married, I'm also gonna be down for that too.
I liked it.
So if you watch...
Hold on. Oh, we went to Davia somehow? Hold on, let's go backwards. I liked it. I liked... I said this yesterday when I talked about this. I think she's super funny, and but at the same time... Oh, here we go. She responds to darkening the eyebrows. Darken your brows, girl, Lord. So here's what she has to say.
On every single one of my videos, let me just show you what the brows used to look like. Exhibit A, Exhibit B. Just think the lighter brows just giving me something a little bit different, a little bit extra. I've literally always disliked my brows. I've never known like how to style them. And this is the first time I actually feel like I like my brows. And I literally had the thought the other day, I was like, what if I go back brunette? But then I can't have my bleached brows, so I literally won't be doing that. I won't be doing any of that, but thank you.
I gotta tell you this, I truly do empathize in a way where I can't truly understand what it's like to be a woman. Absolutely, I could not imagine if I had, the dilemma men have: bangs, no bangs. That's it. Beard, no beard. So I'm not gonna say who's to blame systemically in society for like the sort of over obsessiveness of contouring and this or that. Again, it's not to shame anybody. If it were me, I don't know. Like someone said, how about an in-between color? It would be nice if you didn't have to think about all these things. I'd be anxious every day. I mean, you'd never even leave the house. I got to go drop someone off at the UPS store, but I don't know if I've got my eyebrows done. I wouldn't get anything done. All right, I'll be back on Patreon with more. Patreon.com/Dave Neal right after this.